I'm in the woodshed. I've cut some wood and I've lit a fire, and that is so I can generate steam to bend sticks. I do have a video on that and all the implications and the process involved in that. For me today, I've got to straighten about 4 pieces because I want a choice basically, because I've been commissioned to do a walking staff, and that's going to be slightly longer, slightly heavier duty, and there'll be a few different design elements that will go into that. But I thought I'd use this opportunity to address some of the things that I've discussed in previous videos that I've kind of left open-ended, and I'll touch on those because I think due to today being gloomy, I'm stuck here till I've achieved straightening these sticks. I might as well use that time, and I've done the research and I do have the answers to some of those questions that arise from my out and about expeditions and in general talks. Just out of interest, these are the 4 pieces. They're reasonably in good order. It's not going to take too much to straighten them, but they're of a nice size, and I do have a piece of ash in the middle. It's different than the other 3 that I have here, which is hazel. But I'm going to straighten these, see how they come out when I debark them, and see what the wood quality is, because obviously I'm trying to give the best and the best quality of product that I can achieve. Obviously I've got water there, I've got the fire, and I'm getting ready to actually straighten. And like I said, I do have a video on all this. I'm trying to avoid the wood smoke, but yeah, you can see what I'm here stuck doing today. So like I said, I might as well use that time and have a little quick chat with you. Right, I've got a couple magpies in the hedge behind me going mental. They've obviously found something to eat, but I'm producing steam there, as you can see from the kettle. It's coming through, this is warming up, and while that's happening I'm going to grab a cup of coffee and then we'll have our little chat. So I've got my coffee, I've got smoke blowing in here which isn't too fantastic. My only thoughts on that is possibly the surf could be offshore, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's cooking off. I've got all the sticks in, so I've got some time to sit down and have a little chat now, because basically it's a waiting game. First off, Portugal. I did mention in one of my videos that we are going to Portugal, and that is still the case. We're going for a month. We do have family out there, and the plan is to, be with the family, do everything in that vein. Also do our own exploration around central Portugal and look at property. I did mention that. That's still on the cards. We're weighing up the pros and cons. It's not going to be somewhere, as I said, I think I did back in that video, that we're looking at this point in our life, because we've got young kids, to make the leap fully over there. And when I say property, I'm not talking like you might see on other YouTube videos where I'd be investing vast sums of money and selling up and pooling all their resources into that. As with everything, if you followed my videos, I do everything on the cheap, on the tail end of what other people would be doing, and I make it work, whether it be my own initiative, doing it myself, or just basically pushing forward and making it happen, I suppose. But yeah, so Portugal's on the go. We've had a few car issues within the last week or so. We've got a radiator that's just gone, and I've got a service booked in a couple of days time, an exclusive service where they're going to go through the whole car. I don't have the facilities here to do it. I used to do my own cars and that, but I've long since, unless the need will arise, do it myself. So yeah, we've got that all being taken care of. All our paperwork is in order. We're just doing the last bits on insurance and things like that. I'm a very cautious person, so um, I'm making sure all our paperwork is in order. And yeah, we've just been and bought some very cheap shorts, t-shirts, just fitting ourselves up. Oh, sorry to smoke. Just fitting ourselves up for the actual month over there. The reason I'm talking about it is because obviously I will do a little bit of filming of ourselves over there. Myself, I will do a trip over to the coast, and as a surfer, being there, I'm going to surf. Um, I should probably do coastal journeys with the family, but it won't involve me going in the water. Till my boys are old enough to join me, and I don't have to be fully eyes on, I tend not to surf if I'm taking them to the coast. I go in the water and splash about with them, but I'm fully focused on them. I don't, my time is my time when the kids are in the water, safety, and giving them that period of my attention. So, I shall escape and do that. When I'm back in central Portugal, where we're being based, I shall also do some walks up and around the mountain and some hiking up there. But yet again, that will all be family dependent and fitting around their times. But it will happen, but obviously, there's give and take if you're in a family situation. That brings me on to the point of myself and being over here, and the fact is that I'm still producing hiking sticks. We've had a good run over the last few weeks, and that brings me to the fact that I've been asked to do a few more of the Valhalla model. Well, I did state I was going to do a limited run on them. I've, got rid of, or shall we say sold, two of them, and I've actually said in their format of the four pieces of artwork, I'll do two more at Christmas, and I'll probably do two more in the spring and two more following Christmas. I don't want to do vast numbers of that because to my mind, if I'm kind of saying it's going to be kind of like a limited range, you don't just keep pushing them out. I am still doing artwork on other ones, but it's usually of the one or two piece bits of artwork, not four like I did on that particular model. So yeah, that's what's happening with that. My normal hiking sticks and ranges are, it's as and when they sell. And like I say, we've had a good few weeks, so we're quite happy with that. The children's plants have been selling very well, and I'll show you what's happening in the garden as well, because I haven't really briefed anybody or given anybody a further update on what's happening in the garden. But I'll do that after I've talked about. I actually did a little bit of a clandestine over the hedge, bit of a stealthy walkthrough to look for a mine that was on a map, and I came up blank. But subsequently, on going home and searching on the internet and doing a real in-depth search, I did actually find out that there was a mine shaft there, or a mine. It did produce ore in limited quantities, and on top of that, it wasn't in production for very long. It was what they classify as a hill mine, not what I was looking for, a tunnel mine. Well, basically, they found a vein of ore close to the surface on a hillside, and they're able to trace that vein through taking a cleft out of the actual hillside. So it's almost like quarrying in my mind, as I see it, although I'm not a mine expert. But yeah, it was a hill mine, and when I look back and think about it, you can actually see where that vast quantity of material was taken from the hillside. I will revisit that, but I just thought I'd update you on that. And the actual water system that I found at the bottom, it did state in the write-up about it that they had to build a system to take water away. So I'm presuming that would be it as well. So perhaps not such a disastrous result as what I first thought, just lack of information on my part. I did have to scour for that information because this wasn't a, like I said, a very profitable mine, and it wasn't long lived. That brings me on to the castle that I've just actually been found. Well, searching hard on the internet, I did come up with some information. Now, from what I can deduce, it's medieval, not Iron Age or Bronze Age, although there is a possibility it may have stood on a previous site, which could date back. But there's no firm evidence that I can find for that. It says it's medieval. It's looking like it would have been of a wood structure built up on those rock platforms and raised areas, and that possibly explains why in the centre part there's not any real evidence of anything other than those walls and ramparts that were there evidently on display. But anyway, there is a family name to this particular castle, and it's still in existence, and I did come across in my search people from that family name looking back and looking for historical links to this particular castle. That's one reason I'm not going to put the name out there, because there are people that are still, obviously for a privacy aspect, although the land itself has now been purchased by another party which is no longer connected with that family name, but people are still looking back through their history, which must be a fascinating thing. But yeah, the actual medieval building is marked as a castle, but it was a defensive manor. Now that which is quite confusing, but back in the medieval period it was a time of great uncertainty, civil strife, factional fighting between various warlords and squires, and the ruling classes or lower ruling classes quite often would resolve issues through force or violence, even though they were accountable to the king of the country at the time. These things went on, so to have a defensive structure around your manor meant that you could employ a certain number of shall I use the word mercenaries, or hired men of arms that would be able to go and look after your land, collect your taxes, ensure your safety as part of the lower ruling classes. So it was kind of a necessity to have a defensive building. That being said, the actual building itself was supposed to get permission from the king at the time, and there's some question whether this particular, or as I'm trying to look at on for the information, whether this had the full range of permissions by the king to build a defensive building. So I've still got a little bit more information to dig up on this particular castle, but it is actually a fortified manor. But like I said, supposedly medieval, defensive for the local gentry and ruling class to assert their will on the general public, the neighbouring landowners and gentry and ruling classes, and also give them some protection should a dispute arise between the local populace and other ruling class members who may have their own militia, which they will then have a dispute or fight on their hands. Well, some of our buddleias have started to come out, and this is a pink variety in between all the smoke. As you can see, it's a really lovely pink. Get loads of butterflies here at the moment, and this is the ones we take cuttings from to sell. I've got some problems with my apples, and from what I understand it's caused by too much wet and moisture on the outside of the fruit, and then the sun heats it up and it splits. We've had a very wet, windy period where everything's been damp, and then you get the clouds part and you get raging hot sunshine. So you know, I think I've lost quite a few apples to that situation. Possibly hasn't been the best year for apples. And I've got wind damage here to this tree, as you can see. It's just broke the actual twig which holds some actual apples on it. I haven't removed it because quite simply they're still green, and it still looks like it's got enough nutrients and sap coming down here to keep these apples and everything going. So I'll let that play out as nature would intend. The actual blackcurrant every year has been really fantastic. This year it started strong, but for some reason it's not really done anything. There's no real fruit. I can just see one little one there. There's nothing really of anything notable on this particular plant now. Don't know what's happened. It's not dead. I've still got green shoots trying to come through, so whether it will come through later on. There's a few little berries on it, nothing substantial, as you can see. There's, you know, if you look hard, there are small little berries on it, but there's one in itself that's gone black there, but nothing to what it was or has been. So I don't know if they have off years. I need to do a little bit of research on that. These plants here are doing very well. We've got varying degrees of colour or differences in colours with the buddleias coming through. I think these are dark night that are coming through at the moment. The slight yellowing is just simply, like I say, sun damage from being overexposed when those clouds part. But the plant itself is thriving and doing okay, and we've put them back here to give them a bit more shade. Our strawberries have been absolutely fantastic, and we're getting a bowl of strawberries pretty much daily now. As you can see, there's loads down there, and it is a race to get to them before the birds and any insect. So, you know, first thing in the morning, it's literally out here with a bowl and make sure you pick these strawberries. But we've got them coming everywhere. I mean, this has been a fantastic crop this year, and it's been an easy crop. I took all the work, or did all the work last year, replanting, putting chicken manure in there, and it's been non-stop. Like I said, a bowl of strawberries pretty much every day from here. Technically you're not supposed to cut hedges this time of the year, but I was suffering some actual structural damage to my greenhouse, which was here, and in the high winds that we've been having, they were literally bowing over, and the top parts, which I've had to take back down, were coming over and smashing against all the glass and knocking the bins completely over against it. So I had to do you know, emergency work there to kind of stop any more damage to the greenhouse. And in that vein, I'm leaving all my other hedges to go till the very end of the year, so you know, I'm giving the wildlife the best possible chance to do what they got to do. But like I said, I had to take that down because I was suffering structural damage to my greenhouse. So yeah, the rest of it will stay pretty much like this. As you can see, this all is getting a bit overgrown and, you know, unkempt, but I'll let it go. And the same over here. This hedge here, as you can see, this won't be touched. I'll just let this go till the time late in the year, about September time, where I can get on and cut it without fear of upsetting any wildlife. But this is my garden. As you can see, this is the patch that I panicked over, and I planted potatoes in, and as you can see, they're coming up very well. When I planted grass seed here, you can see I was a bit generous with my scattering and got a lot in there. I do have actually carrots coming up in there as well, in amongst it all. If you can look down through this one here, you can see that I've got actually carrots coming up through. So I was a bit premature panicking about what was going to come up. Hence I haven't pulled this grass up, because I'm panicking about, am I pulling up anything that is actually a plant that I want to be in there. But I can actually see I have one of the pumpkin seeds has come up, which is that one there. So I'm interested. The rest haven't, but I've got one pumpkin plant. But like I said, I planted potatoes in there as well, so I may thin that potato out to give that one a better chance. Well, I still have some lettuces. They're holding out against the slugs and the pigeons. So is the cabbage and the cauliflowers. I'm doing my best to try and at least get them to a point I can get a little bit of a crop from them. Broad beans I'm having a great deal of success with, and I should be expecting a good crop from them, and the same with peas. Yeah, if you're wondering what the gap is, that is our cat that keeps going through. I just don't seem to be able to stop the cat, just using that as its convenient thoroughfare into next door's garden. But yeah, I've got a lot of peas coming up there. I don't think we're going to get fruit from the fig tree, but it's doing really well. This is the most foliage we've ever seen on it in about 3 years, and we've rescued this one that was just left in a greenhouse to die, and it was on the verge of dying. We brought it back over the last couple of years. We've transplanted it now out into the ground against this wall, which is a south facing wall, and yes, it seems like this is just where it wants to be and in the ground, and it's beginning to filter out and go long ways. I'm trying to encourage it to go up, but I'll have to wait and see on that. So this is my sweet potato experiment, and these are sweet potatoes from your local supermarket, which I went online and I had to do a lot of learning, and I wanted to see if I could actually, as with potatoes, to actually see if I could, multiply them. Now, it's been possibly, since I put them in the last video, possibly on possibly 3 to 4 weeks just to get to this particular point. I've been keeping the compost damp, because apparently they like to be slightly damp. And as you can see, this one's actually starting to throw vines. So's this one, and this one. That one's doing very well. But these two here don't look like anything's going to happen. So out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 I've planted, I've got 5 that have produced vines, which is quite a good success rate. And I'm going to try and harvest the vines and then plant them in this greenhouse and see how many sweet potatoes I can actually get out of this. Because apparently they're quite prolific, and once you get them planted from the actual runners, you can actually produce a lot of sweet potatoes. But yet again, this is all learning for me, and I'm quite pleased with this little experiment, and it has actually worked, to this point anyway. This is my stick store as per normal, and from here you can see the kids' plants, and I'm not 100% sure what they got there, but yeah, people do seem to appreciate that, hence this letter there. A big thank you, and somebody was very kind and gave us a nice little donation, which we were very grateful for. This is just a very quick handful of strawberries I've just taken from out there that are just ready to go, and I've got probably another crop to take end of the day. But you can see how many eggs we got. All you have to do, if you've got 5 hens and they're all laying this time of the year, is stop eating eggs for 2 or 3 days, so don't eat them, and you can end up with a situation like this. We are going to be giving a majority of these away to an elderly gentleman that lives on his own, and he's not, shall we say, in the best of financial situation, so he'll be grateful for these for something to eat. And yeah, rather than let them go to waste, we'll pass them on to somebody that will eat all these. And then I suppose it's for us to get back to eating eggs again. And like I said, five hens laying every day. You only have to stop eating eggs, and for a few days, and they start building up, and then it becomes difficult to eat 5 eggs a day, to be honest with you. And as you can see, all the grass clippings and anything we have waste from the garden goes in here. Like anything from like waste grass cuttings, trimmings off any plants or anything like that. This is what gives the amount of eggs that we do. They've got all this room in here. They've got plenty to do and scratch around. They've got their food, their water, and they've got really good quality of life in here, and they love it. They've got plenty to do. Like I say, they're not bored. They've got their perches, they can scratch around. They're really happy chickens, and that produces the quantity of eggs that we get. So very quickly, I just thought I'd throw something together just to tie up a few loose ends from those hikes and walks and explorations I did. And on top of that, just bring Portugal back into the conversation, because I've dropped off on that. I haven't wanted to jinx anything due to all the travel disruptions, and particularly with flights. Even though we're driving and going by ferry, it's still uncertain travel times at the moment, but it's looking like it's all good to go. And yeah, so we will bring you along on bits and bobs of that particular journey for us as well. But as to regard to getting a husky, that's been on the cards for so long now that it's almost got to the point that we very rarely mention it amongst themselves. But we will be looking at that when we get back from Portugal and revisiting that. It's something that I'm keen for. As you can see, I'm always out and about, and a dog as a companion would be well received for myself, because I'm plodding out a lot of mileage, and the thought behind a husky is that, as you've probably seen, I'm out in all weather conditions and for long periods of time. My thinking is a husky would be a pretty hardy dog, bearing in mind that it's been bred for those sort of adventures, if I'm going to use that word. So yeah, we'll revisit that. But I'm just going to call it a day, because I've got to get ready, because I'm going to be meeting some guys I haven't seen from when I went away to the desert. They're actually coming down from up country to do a spot of fishing at a local fishing port, and they go out deep sea fishing. So I don't partake of that, but tonight I will meet them, have a few drinks, chat about the old times like people do, and I'm looking forward to that. So I've got to wrap this up, get these sticks straightened, dampen down the fire, put my stuff away, and then have a shower, shave, and get ready, jump in the car, and go over and see my mates. So this is Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks. All the best, and I'll resume with a normal type of video, and I do have one that I'm trying to put together at the moment. I'm trying to gather a lot more of the information and go a bit more in depth on the story than what normally happens when the story's told. But you'll see that one when it comes out, and I hope you like it. This is Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks. I'm going to call it a day. I've really got to get on. Okay, cheers, thanks for watching.